This is Callum Brownsmith for Advanced Technical Design, and this is my technical reflection video for my horror escape room game. So just a quick overview of what the game's about. It's basically 3 rooms that you have to solve puzzles, find clues to escape from, so you can escape this Victorian mansion. That's the whole game in a nutshell. So I'm going to explain each puzzle uh, in order that you need to complete in the game. So this is the first room, and you have 2 puzzles in here. You got a telescope puzzle and a Morse code puzzle here. So the first one that you need to do is the telescope one, and as you can see, there's a camera on it. This game has a lot of cameras in it, just so you can show off these small details, like codes and pictures like this. There's 2 things that this project is heavy on: cameras and tags. I'll explain more about the tags soon. But if I go up here, you can see that it's just a giant image above the map that the camera can move about, and it will literally use the using a WASD. You would move up and down, um, finding the code, the hidden code, and there's some actual star signs here. But then, as you can see, there's a 3, there's an 8, and there's a 2, and that's a code for this box here. But how this works is it's just a widget enlarged, and I so when the player interacts with this blueprint, the camera will change, and this uses a fade widget, so just quickly fades the scene in and out, and player's movement is turned off, and all of the UI is disappears, so you can see the whole star constellations clearly. Um, and uh, and then for moving the camera, you have 4 functions that are activated when they press a certain key. So I've got a function for moving left, moving right, moving up, and moving down, and these are on their respective keys: A, D, W, and S. And these timers are paused when the key is released. So all of these are identical pretty much. So I'll just open one. Um, and so for down, if if the key is pressed, the relative location is moved by -5, and as it's on a timer, it will continue to move. But as -5 is so small, you can't see those little movements with the naked eye, and the timer is on quite a low number as well. Yeah, 0.01, so you literally can't see it. So if the relative location on the z-axis is 3500, then it won't move. So that's basically if the camera is here, then it is able to move down, but if it's here, it can't move. So that's basically how that works, and you could there'll be an exit button that appears on the bottom right of the screen once the player wants to exit the screen, and they can come back to this if they didn't get the right code, or if they entered it in the wrong order or anything like that. So the next one is the Morse code puzzle, and this has a few layers to it. So uh, the first thing you need to do is, because you can see the Morse code there, and if I just do a little preview, just give it a sec. So you press E, and you can click on this and click on that, and that will just play a code, and that's actually an actual code. It's not just some random dots and dashes. And this is a box that has a combination lock onto it, and that's the code from the star constellation puzzle. So that'll be 382, and this book comes out. So you would need to solve this by listening to this Morse code, and the code for this is chain the tiger. And so you can close the book there and exit. So that I'll show why it's chain tiger in a second, but how this works is when the book is when the book is clicked, the as you know, when the Morse code is clicked, the play Morse code event is fired. And this is just simply a long line. I probably could have done this a lot better, but this is just a long line of dots and dash events just to spell out this chain of tiger code. And all this is this separate handle on the model. So this bit right here, all that does is it moves down by 5 on the y-axis, and then after a small amount of time it comes back up again. That took a lot of trial and error just to get the exact right time. And yeah, the same thing for the dash, and it's just a little bit longer there. So that's how the Morse code machine works. And for the book, all that is when you click the book, the book moves up to the camera. So you see there's this book camera location. So that is there, and as you can see, that's right by where the camera is, right in front of it. So it uh, moves smoothly into the camera's view, so you can interact with it and have a look at what the codes are. And when you click the exit button on the book, it will close it and move it back to its original location. And as you saw, it has some outline colors, and that's just some render custom depth with a simple material. So this move book is the book moving out of the box, just using a simple 3-second timeline. Looking at the box, this is moving the camera. Yeah, the camera um, closer to the box, so you can see the combination lock and interact with it. And this moves the camera back if you haven't typed in the right code or haven't done the star constellation puzzle yet. Render custom depth again, I don't need to go over that again. And that's basically the whole Morse code box thing. So the chain of tiger code, that is simply this bookcase. So if I go into this, all this is pulling a book to open a bookcase door, and that's opening a door there is just a simple timeline. But these have children components, and they are books. So if I go into this, if I show this here, okay. So how the bookcase, how it really works is in these child components, you have these in the default class of the child component, you have a book name, book cover, and book type. The book name doesn't do anything anymore because I chose to make my own images for book covers. So, for example, there's well, they're all here. So I've got 10 book covers, um, all with random names I just came up with. And if I see the one, here it is, that's the book cover. So Chain of Tiger is name of a book, which so it corresponds to this, and I'll just show you quickly how you can tell. So if you just hover over them, you can see the name of the book. And then if I just quickly solve this, so Chain the Tiger, close. And then I go up to the same book. You can see now has the interaction icon on the circle in the middle of the screen. So if I just left click on that, the door opens. And that works via tags, as mentioned earlier. So in the player character, a lot of functions for a lot of puzzles are in the player character. So in here, in this bit, so we've got the left mouse button there, and this section is just for non-pick-upable items. So I've got 4 different tags here: bookcase interact, painting interact, key tape, and clock. I'll go over these 3 later on, but bookcase interact is the one that's just been activated there in that little preview. All that does is the if the line trace that constantly comes off the player, if that's interacted with an actor that has this bookcase interact tag, then the pull book custom event is called, and then that and then that opens the door with this event here. So it's just as simple as that. So that's room 1. Room 2 doesn't have as many puzzles, but it's still of the same difficulty, but very different. So what I mean by that is all it has is this clock and this door. This door is a combination lock like the box, but as you can see here, I believe the box might have had this. No, it didn't actually. No. So the this door has a vector here that is 0 to 9 on each one, and if I just set them to a value, that's what the code will be. So the first one is the top one, second one is middle one, third one is the bottom one. So the code is 128. So this puzzle is, as you can see, there's some empty slots here, and there are cogs all around the room. There's one there, and there's one there. So once all these cogs are in, the clock face will change, the hands will change rather, and they will rotate and stop at a time. That time corresponds with that code. So if I just quickly preview this, and this is also the bit where it can be improved on because the system where I am picking up items isn't the best. So as you can see, it just falls through the floor a little bit. So if it just hover over this, it's in there. Wait. Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot something. You have to open the door first. There we go. And now it's in there. So just quickly do this. One more. So that time said 12:08. So that'll be 1, 2, 8. And there's another collision box in this door that when I walk through, slam behind you. So that's literally room 2. So I'll just quickly show you how that's done. So in the player character, sorry, yeah, the player character. Um, where is it? So, oh yes, so on the cogs, like I mentioned before, this game has a lot of tags in it. So if I just type in tags in the details panel, you can see it has 3. It has interact. Interact allows the game to switch the UI of that circle, the crosshair in the middle of the screen, to that hand to show that it's an interactable object. So it needs interact, it needs cog to recognize it as a cog, and there's another one that's cog 5. All of them have different numbers, 1 to 6. Um, so that just identifies which cog it is to make sure it goes on the correct slot. So for pickup of items, wherever they are, pickup items, another line trace is fired constantly, and it works on simulate physics. So anything can be picked up if it simulates physics. So if it's got interact, then it will set the world location to the interact location. Just to that's when it goes closer to the camera. And the grab object at grab component location rather, is the world location of that object. So and it uses the physics handle which is seen here. So that's quite a simple system. Again, I wish it was better because it does go through the floor initially and come back up. That's why before it didn't have this set world location. That's why I have this set world location because before it would go through the floor, it wouldn't come back up, and you would have to basically wiggle the mouse to see if you've actually picked it up. But I've never made a system like this before, so it sort of turned out the way I wanted it, but again, it could be better. So the the grandfather clock rather. So just like all the other doors, it opens doors using a timeline, and you change the camera using all of this. Just like before, getting rid of the HUD, moving the component with the camera, all stuff from the other ones. Um, Turning the clock hands, very specific rotating. That took a lot of trial and error just to rotate the hands to the correct time. Yeah, that uses a timeline as well with 5 seconds. And as you saw, it doesn't just go straight there. It does a few turns just to show that it's. Um, it, I would. I think the best way to describe it is a little bit of suspense. But yeah, that's basically how the grandfather clock works. So the next bit is the door. How that works is very similar to the bookshelf door in a way, but you have these variables here. So you've got lock values, lock combination. That's the one that's seen in the details panel in the editor. That's a timer, and that's obviously a player reference. But the lock values, if all of those are equal to the lock combination that's set in the details panel, if all of those are equal, and that's checked via a timer on event begin play, if all of those are equal, then the door will open and destroy the player this box collision. And it will also move the padlock as you saw, and then it will reset the player camera after 4 seconds. And then down here, this is the second box collision that slams the door. So it plays the sound, does it on a timeline like the rest of them. Yeah. And these uh, these set the rotations of the 3 combination bits. So that one, and that one. I should have shown this on the box on the Morse code table, but it's the same process. Um, Same process for all 3. It's just a massive line of code um, of repetitive nodes, and uses the lock values. And 0 is the top one, 1 is the middle one, and 2 is the bottom one. So all it is, if it's equal to 0, you don't move it. If it's equal to 1, move it by 36. 2, move it there. 3, and so on and so forth. That took a lot. That was probably the thing that took the most trial and error, because I thought that the model or the textures on it would have an equal spacing between each number, but it doesn't. So I thought it would be 0, then minus 36, um, then double that, which it does. But then as it goes on, there's smaller and bigger gaps. So some of them are just double, some of them aren't. So it took a lot of trial and error, and it took a lot longer than it should have. But it works quite well, and I've never done that sort of that sort of code before. I've only ever done digital locks on doors, which is a lot simpler. But I'm quite happy with the way it turned out. Um, but yeah, as you can see, that's all 3 identical. So that's room 2. I believe that's everything. So in the final room, you have one, two, 2 main puzzles and one other one, which is this painting. So the first one that you need to go to is this painting. So I'll show you what that's like first. Again, just got to wait for this. So press E to interact, and you can, and it's a jigsaw, so you just if it's in the wrong place, it will snap back. If it's in the right place, which is possibly here, yeah. So you just solve the puzzle, and it will show a code. Realistically, you'd have thought I'd be good at it by now, the amount of times I played this game. Almost done, and there we are. So as you can see, 6127. That's the code, or the phone number rather, and the texture changes when you leave, so it's always on there. So you can always come back. 6127, and on here, you do 6 1 2 7, and then you can uh, you can reset the number, and say you dialed the wrong number or not enough numbers, it will just flash red. So let's just dial 4 randoms. So dial number, flash red. So reset the number, 6 1 2 7. So dial the number, and this code plays. I don't know if you can hear it. So all that does is just give you a clue um, of where to look next, where another clue is, or where another object is. And in this case, it's a key, and clue, the answer to clue rather, is Queen Victoria. So that goes to here, and you can see interactable now. When before, if you hovered over this, it wouldn't be interactable because you need to complete that first to interact with this. So you just left click on this, and you see there's some tape on a key. So you just left click on the tape, key drops, got the key in your hand, walk up to this door, and like the other door, walk through it, slams behind you. So how how this works is it takes a lot of steps. So it takes a lot of steps. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different blueprints, 4 of which are widgets. So you've got the main one here, which is the um, piece tray and another canvas panel which holds the grid. Um, you've got a jigsaw slot, which is just this grid, and that holds 16 of them. And you have the jigsaw piece, which has the material on it. And you also have, oh sorry, this is the drag UI. So this is the one that you're able to drag, and the jigsaw piece, this is the one that it gets put onto here if it's in the correct spot. So, and these 2 blueprints, you have the jigsaw drag drop uses the parent class drag drop operation. All it does is uh, if the event is cancelled, then the piece is visible, as in the piece that's able to be dragged is snapped back. Because all it does, it's not actually dragging the piece, it just sets the visibility of the one on the left that you've started dragging, and it's set that's set to invisible, and the one that's starting to be dragged, that's a separate piece that's being set to visible. And in this is just the actor with the camera and the frame. And again, it has the interact bit. Um, and yeah, so it just gets rid of the this is the interact UI, just like all the other interactable things. So this really has nothing to do with the actual puzzle. So in the jigsaw piece, you just show and set the pieces using the material. So I have a parameter value inside of the material of number of pieces because it splits up the pieces inside of the material. In the drag UI, it's literally the same thing because obviously these are the same thing, but they're just to get their visibility set. Inside of the slot, you have just the overridden on drop function, and this just checks if it's in the correct spot, and if it is, it sets the material and the color. And in the actual screen, you have build slots and build pieces. In build slots, it just adds adds more to the number of pieces variable, and this just updates the progress as it goes along. So that's basically how the jigsaw works. It's quite complicated. I did have to look online for some of that, for a good chunk of that, because I've never made that sort of thing before. That was quite complex for me. For the phone, this is literally just on clicked, quite similar to the Morse code machine in a way, where I have a dial event using a timeline and a rotator, and uh, I have the rotator X on an end rotation, and each number has sets it to a specific value. And again, I had to use a lot of trial and error for this because, as you can see, the numbers are very specific. So it just dials it and then reverse dials it. So after a few seconds, um, it will go to the end and then goes back to its original, rotate back to its original spot. So it's ready to be another number to be dialed. So dial number, when a number is clicked, this phone number array, it has one added to it, or well, has that specific number added to it rather, using this number add. And as you can see in dial number, you have number add there connected to the function, and I could just input that number onto each one. So that's quite simple, really. Yeah. And finally, the door, very similar to combination lock. It just has the rotator on the door using a timeline and a rotator, and the camera uses set view target with blend like before. It's very similar to stuff that I've already explained. But yes, it's oh yes. The only difference is here No, sorry. Should be, where is it? Here it is. The key input and rotation. So the sound of the key unlocking plays, and then a move component 2 gets the rotation and location. So the key is inserted into the keyhole, and then it is rotated with another move component 2 node, and then the door opens with this one. But I'll just quickly go back into the play character because there's a few things I forgot to explain. So yeah, for that painting interact, uh, that opens a door and adds the interact, removes the interact tag and removes the painting interact tag from the painting door actor. The key tape, um, when that's interacted with, it destroys it like you saw, and then the key has the simulate physics added to it, so it's able to be picked up. And the clock from room 2, when I interact with that, the door opens, and then these tags get removed, so I can't interact with the door again. Believe that is everything. Yep, that seems to be everything. So those are all the main information for this technical reflection video. Sorry, it's a bit long, but I haven't shown you some other things like the main menu and stuff, but that's not really that special. It's just the main menu. This is the main feature of the game. But yes, again, apologies that it is very long, but there's a lot to go through for this game. But, thank you for listening.